Welcome again to another edition of Huckins on Film. I'm your host, Kyle Huckins, and we're talking about a movie I saw last night. I couldn't really do a great review of it. At the time, I was really late. I was really tired. But I saw The Iceman with Michael Shannon last night. First, the trailers. Saw another trailer for The East. I have no idea what this movie's about. Looks like it's about a bunch of terrorists striking back at corporate greed sort of thing, but it was so short and vague that who knows. It didn't look that great one way or the other, so don't really care. Saw The Kings of Summer. Misfit kids build their own house in the woods to get away from their parents. This movie has more indie than thou written all over it. I think I'm gonna pass. There's a racing movie called Rush, based on the story of two racers and their friendship and competition, especially after one of them was almost killed in an accident caused by the other. I don't really give a rat's ass about auto racing, but one of them is Chris Hemsworth, so I do like watching the man work, but I'm probably still going to end up passing. And finally, there was The Grandmaster, which is just a brief teaser, and it's just one dude going all martial arts on a whole army of dudes in the rain. There were weapons flying at the screen. It was raining. Iceman wasn't 3D. I'm kind of hoping The Grandmaster is, because just from that teaser alone, it looked like that could be a lot of fun as a 3D flick. But yeah, since it's a small film, theater I saw it was really tiny. Didn't get a whole ton of trailers. So, on to The Iceman. Okay, Iceman is a story of former mafia hitman Richard Kuklinski, who lived in the next town over from me at one point. Yay, Jersey. Yeah. And he also had a couple of documentaries made about him on HBO. It was just interviews with him. It was basically the Iceman in his own words. Michael Shannon must have spent every waking moment watching these for like 3 months, because he's perfect. He blew my mind how good he was. As I saw those Iceman documentaries, he had the voice down perfect. He had the cadence down perfect. And there's probably a little more the makeup department, but he looked like him. Also helps that Michael Shannon's a very intimidating man. He's a big guy, to put it mildly. And this movie was well done enough that I'm pretty sure it was on purpose. There was no one in this movie who was even comparable to him size-wise. I don't know if they made that a priority or not, but it made him that much more menacing, that he's just massive compared to everyone else. It's one of the, he enters the room and just, oh, look at that big sumbitch right there. But I'm not quite as crazy in the moment as I was last night. But I really think Michael Shannon deserves an Oscar for this performance. He was so good. Seriously, it's a good movie all around. But if you just want to watch Michael Shannon be menacing as hell, you've got to watch The Iceman, because he's terrifying in this movie. He just does such an expert job of playing him. Especially Kuklinski, he's... in movies, a lot of times, sociopath will be a lot like Hannibal Lecter type, where they're incredibly intelligent to the point where they almost can't identify with other people. Real life, most sociopaths a little slow. They're not stupid. They're just, they're not, they're usually not geniuses. And you can tell Kuklinski, especially in this, like, listening to him talk, he doesn't say a lot if he doesn't have to. He's a very taciturn character. And whenever so at one point he's convinced people he works in currency exchange just to try to explain the fact that he's got cash coming out the ass and no one knows how. Well, you can't exactly go telling people, oh, I kill people for the mafia. Well, you can, but it's not a good idea. And I mean, he'll be talking about currency exchange, and it just, and you don't believe he could be in that field. But his friends and family do. And I can see with the family, they don't want to believe he might be up to something. Because that's one of those weird things, is Kuklinski really did try his best to be a good husband and father. He did care about his family. Anything beyond his family, not only did this man have no fucks to give, but if he had come into possession of a few, he wouldn't know how to give them. And it's very interesting seeing how that works on the character. Because it starts in 65, ends around 80. And before he has a family, he's auditioning, so to speak, for hang on, I forget the names. For Roy DeMeo, who's played by Ray Liotta. Wow, Ray Liotta as a gangster. Who'd have thunk it? And Liotta pulls a gun on him, sticks it in his face, just to see how he'd react. And he just sits there, stock fucking still. No sweat, no nothing, just, wow. I could have shot him in the face and he would not care. Later on, the two have a heated confrontation. And it's outside of his house during his daughter's 16th birthday. And he kind of starts to sweat a little bit. Because it could involve his family. This isn't to say he's an emotionless robot. He's not. He's actually just sitting on a volcano of rage. And it explodes a few times. And, oh boy. I mean, I'm amazed I'm awake right now. I didn't think I was going to sleep after watching this movie last night. He's nightmare fuel in this movie. Just absolutely terrifying. But yeah, it's, for a small indie flick like this, it's got a hell of a cast. And it was directed by Ariel Vroman. I've never seen anything else he's done. I've got to change that because this film is amazing. It captures the look of the era perfectly. Hell, I just love watching it just to see payphones. That's just like, wow, that takes me back. See, you're watching this, you're like, payphone? What's a payphone? Google it. Learn something. And also just, like, seeing, because he goes through several different styles of facial hair. But he's rocking some serious sideburns. Sometimes he's got just the mustache, the soul patch. Sometimes he grows in the full goatee. Either way, it's scary as hell. As the movie progresses, he's getting older. The hair starts getting a little gray. And it's still just like, yeah, I have no doubt that guy will just wreck my world. And everything he can near it. He's just so scary. I'm sorry I'm spending so much time on Michael Shannon, but really he's in all but maybe 2 or 3 scenes. It's very much his film. And then also it's interesting was when he's interacting with his family or with criminals, his fellow criminals. It's interesting because I guess because he's so emotionless, it feels like the interactions feel very much the same. It's just what they talk about is a lot different. Also, I gotta give a lot of credit to Winona Ryder, who played his wife in this. I thought she did a really good job. It's like from the beginning, you get the idea she's a very sweet person. She's very loving and a little naive, which is probably part of why he could get away with leading this double life. Also, the man was a stone-cold sociopath. So any little tics or whatever you had that would give away the fact you're lying, most sociopaths don't really have them. Because it just doesn't matter. Lying does not affect them. He also goes into business with another killer known as Mr. Freezy, played by Chris Evans, which is just... I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but it's just weird seeing long hair, scraggly beard, total sleazebag killer, played by Captain America. Because that is one of those great differences between Freezy and Iceman. Freezy clearly loves his work. Iceman, just another day at the office. He really doesn't show love. And with his family, he loves them, but just with killing someone, it's just not a big deal to him. It's all about just not getting caught. But this man he does not sweat. And oh my lord. Like I said, it's one of the most menacing performances I've seen in ages. I mean, the two movies are very different, but I would compare Shannon's turn as Richard Kuklinski. I think it's up there with Michael Rooker's Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Iceman, it's not nearly as gory. It's actually a surprisingly bloodless film for the subject matter. It didn't really need to be bloody, so it worked. It's very bloodless. You know, there's no scene in Iceman that just like still rattles me the way the home invasion scene from Henry does. But to me, this could be this decade's Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. I really do think it is on that level. Where the whole time you're following around this very awful, unlikable person. But goddamn, he's just hypnotic. Because you don't know what he's gonna do next. You just know it's gonna be bad. I mean, I guess I've just always been drawn to characters like that, real and imaginary. You know, that's why I love Sexy Beast with Ben Kingsley. Because Ben Kingsley's character is a bomb waiting to explode in every scene he's in. Or Robert Carlyle's Begbie from Trainspotting. Just one of those characters. Yeah. I'm going to keep an eye on that guy even when he's in the background, because something's going to happen. Something doesn't always happen, but it could. You know, it's that kind of character where you don't want to take your eyes off them. Most likely with good reason. So yeah, that's my review for the Iceman. Like I said, Michael Shannon deserves an Oscar for this. Go see this. I can't recommend this movie highly enough. That's Kyle Huckins for Huckins on Film. Fucking off.